This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, it is Friday, November 14th, 2025. And what if I told you 1 year ago, just say a year, the end of 2024, we would be sitting here today and Tucker Carlson would be feuding with Dan Bongino. They'd be calling each other liars. Megyn Kelly would be offering a bizarre defense of Jeffrey Epstein. Democrats would be angry, upset, revolting because SNAP beneficiaries were going to get their food stamps and the government would be open and federal employees would be getting paid. They've never been this upset about anything before. They are literally trying to oust their leader in the Senate, Chucky Schumer, and they're not happy with Hakeem either. They're not happy because the government's open, planes aren't crashing, and starving children are finally getting to eat. This is really driving the Democrats over the edge. And here's what I'm going to predict today. It's going to get even crazier. We're going to get to all that. But here's what we're looking at today as we sit here at toward the end of 2025. We're looking at an election year next year, 2026. And the socialists, the radicals, the communists are feeling emboldened. They just elected a socialist in Seattle as their new mayor. They had a crazy left-wing mayor who hated ICE, hated Trump, an incumbent. They threw him out for a 43-year-old socialist who still lives off her parents, who doesn't have a real job, whose first statement, as far as I could tell, was saying, we are no longer going to allow grocery stores to close. So if they're in the city and they're struggling, grocery stores can't go out of business because it would create a food desert. So she's going to force private businesses, stores, to remain open to serve the underserved, the underprivileged in the intercity. That's what's happening in cities across the country. Hell, it's only been 10 days since we elected a communist in New York City, and Democrats won big in New Jersey and Virginia and California 10 days ago, and they were feeling great. But here's the problem. The people who are feeling good about this, who are feeling emboldened, are radicals, are absolute socialists who are looking to take over their party. This is not good for Democrats because here's what's going to happen. Next year at this time, we're going to be talking about Senator AOC. Yes, she's going to challenge Chuck Schumer. He's going to quit. He's going to retire because right now she's looking at a lead in the polls of 30, 35 points. She is going to win and win easily next year at this time. Jasmine Crockett is saying she's running for senator in Texas. Now, it's going to be a little tougher for Jazzy to win statewide in Texas. In fact, I think it's a long shot, but she's feeling it, man. She's feeling good and strong, and she thinks she's got all the momentum. Here's what's going to happen in Massachusetts. Ed Markey, the dumbest man in the U.S. Senate, just a pathetic, empty shell of a man who just follows along with any crazy radical idea, who still thinks, global warming is the existential threat. That guy, he's a dead man walking too. Two congressmen in Massachusetts, at least two are going to challenge him. That would be Seth Moulton, the coward who won't even stand up for his own daughters, who bowed and buckled when he let it slip that he didn't want his daughters to go against boys in sports. And immediately the Democrat Party came at him, demanded he resign because he doesn't want to see his daughters get beaten up. And he flipped, of course, and said, no, I'm fine with my daughters getting beaten up. I don't want the trans mob coming after me. But I think he's going to fail. You know why? Because Ayanna Pressley, who could be the craziest of all the squad, she's going to jump in the race, challenge Moulton, take down Ed Markey. So at this time next year, we could be looking at Senator Ayanna Pressley, Senator AOC, and Senator Jasmine Crockett. That's what we got to look forward to. The Democrats had a good day last week. In fact, by all indications, they are heavily favored to retake the House. I think Kalshi or Polly Market had it over 70%, like 73% chance that Democrats will retake the House, which means that on this day next year, we'll all be talking about the impeachment, which will be planned for January. For what? Doesn't matter. They'll impeach Trump for something. They made up things during his first term. They impeached him twice for nothing. At this time next year, we'll all be gearing up, getting ready for the next impeachment hearing. They will vote on day one, January 20th, 2027. You will see Democrats say, we're ready to go. Let's impeach him. Again, for what? Doesn't matter. They'll just say for deporting illegal alien criminals. They'll say for closing the border, for tariffs, for ending wars. They had no reason last time, and they had big hearings, and it's going to happen again. That's what's going to happen. I don't feel good about the midterms, except for comic relief. I mean, it's going to be hilarious. AOC is going to be a senator, and she's going to be one of the most powerful senators. Ayanna Pressley is going to be a senator, and she's going to be ranting every day about how racism is keeping beautiful black women down. That's all she cares about. Race, two things. She cares about race and illegal aliens, protecting illegal aliens. Those are her top priorities. And of course, Jasmine Crockett. If by some miracle she pulls it off, she is going to be a senator, and she's going to be crazier than ever. She really believes, that she's smart and persuasive and powerful, and she's going to be everywhere at this time. So that's just the ones we've already familiar with. We may be looking at a senator from Maine, Graham Plattner, with a Nazi tattoo, who brags about being an Antifa super soldier and a communist. He could be in the Senate. And you know who could be in the House? Yes, another Kennedy. Yes. It's funny. I don't know, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you'd say, I don't care if he's a Kennedy. This guy's not qualified. This guy's an embarrassment. This guy's a joke. This guy's a moron. You look at it now, the whole picture has changed. You can't be too crazy to be an elected Democrat. I mean, it's not possible. Again, they just elected a Muslim Marxist to destroy New York City. And they think that's not enough. We need more Marxists. We need more Muslims. We need more people who hate this country. And Jack Schlossberg is just the guy we need. Jerry Nadler, the bridge troll who's been in Congress forever in New York, is stepping down, and there's going to be a knife fight for his job. Here is the next congressman from the 12th district in New York, Jack Schlossberg, grandson of JFK. And you probably saw him in the last year because he despises his, second cousin, RFK Jr. He led the charge from the Kennedy family to try to stop RFK Jr. And never misses an opportunity to take shots at his family member, the only Kennedy left with any integrity. This lunatic, by the way, he looks good. He looks good without a shirt on. He looks like, JFK Jr. He looks like JFK, fits the part. But then there's a problem. Then he starts talking. Then he starts dancing, singing. I don't think we've ever seen a political candidate with more of a footprint, more of a social media history that's going to come back and bite him. I'm not sure who's running against him at this point, but man, the opposition research is going to have a real fun time with Jack Schlossberg. He's 32. He, of course, like Mamdani, he's never had a real job. He's a Nepo baby. He's a child of privilege. He's the son of Edwin Schlossberg, an artist, and Caroline Kennedy. And he has, I think, 2 million. He brags about having 2 million social media followers. And I can see why, because he really posts some quality content. like when he dressed up as Melania. I mean, where do you begin when you're making ads, commercials, attacking this guy? If he does a serious interview, he's a moron, and he's a socialist. But most of his material is funny, or he attempts to be funny. This is why he has 2 million followers. Here he is doing his imitation of Melania Trump. Keep in mind, he's already announced he's running for Congress. I don't think the name Kennedy obviously doesn't have the power that it used to, but he doesn't. It's not about the name. It's about how crazy can you get. I mean, the guy in Maine has a Nazi tattoo and brags about training Antifa soldiers in firearms. That guy's he might win. He might be your next senator from Maine, and this guy might be your next congressman from New York. Go ahead.
Dear President Putin, every child shares the same quiet dreams in their heart, whether born randomly into nation's rustic countryside or magnificent city center. They dream of love, possibility, and safety from danger. As parents, our duty is to nurture next generation hope. As leader, the responsibilities to sustain our children extend beyond the comfort of a few. Undeniably, we must strive to paint dignity-filled world for all, so that every soul.
That's just one clip. I saw an interview where the interviewer said, "You have 1 million followers." He said, "I want to correct you. It's almost 2 million." So he is one of these creations of social media, and he's proud of it. Is this where he's singing a song? He's a little light in the loafers, as they say. I don't think he's married. Let me check. I don't think he's married. This is so perfect. He is such a perfect Kennedy. Education, Yale and Harvard. Yeah. Lives in the Upper East Side and Martha's Vineyard, and doesn't work, of course. I mean, he's a Kennedy. And he's a moron. I mean, I don't know if it's inbreeding or what it is, but they're not sending their best anymore. And this is the guy, the next Kennedy, who's going to be in office representing New York City. Go ahead.
She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride. She's got a ticket to ride, but she don't care.
What the hell? There are thousands of these, but here's the best one. As I said, there's nothing disqualifying for Democrats anymore. There's nothing. I mean, again, you got a communist in New York City, a guy who said, they want to change the city in their own image, a guy who did appearances with a co-conspirator in the 93 World Trade Center bombing, a guy who did an appearance with a woman who wants to put gay people to death, and then 84% of gay voters voted for him. So there's nothing disqualifying anymore, not even a Nazi tattoo or a Nazi salute. Here is Jack Schlossberg doing the Heil Hitler thing.
Yo, check this out. Yo, check this out. Yo, check this out.
Check this out. And he's literally doing the Nazi salute. It's not like, he just was waving to the crowd like, Elon Musk or Liz Warren did, AOC did, and people said, look, that looks like a Nazi. He's literally doing Heil Hitler. And he's running for Congress. This is going to be fun. And like I said, sources tell me Ayanna Pressley is going to be jumping in the race in Massachusetts. And we've asked for years, could someone this crazy, this liberal, this radical, this racist win statewide? Well, I think we've got our answer over the last year or two. Every blue state has just gone crazy, radical, left, socialist. They can't get enough of it. They don't want you to moderate. All they want you to do is promise free stuff and hate Trump. That's it. Promise free stuff and hate Trump. Those are the two requirements. And I'll just predict right now, Seth Moulton, you're white. You're heterosexual. Hell, you were in the Marines. Give it up, pal. You don't stand a chance. In today's Democrat Party, you don't stand a chance. You're a fossil. You're outdated. They're done with you. You have no chance. You're running against a woman who is not from Massachusetts, of course, and who hates this country, who hates white people, who is just a crazy radical. Give it up, Seth Moulton. You're going to get trounced, and we're going to have Ayanna Pressley representing us in the Senate for the next 30 years or so, and they won't have Chuck Schumer to kick around anymore because AOC, I mean, we're hoping she runs for president or vice president. I don't think that's going to happen. I think she's going to be a senator. She knows it. They love her. She's going to be representing New York in the Senate for the next 30, maybe 40 years. She'll be like Chuck Schumer. She'll be there forever. All right, we have to get to the latest feud. What an interesting time. Tucker Carlson came out today with a report on Thomas Crooks, the assassin who shot Trump in the ear in Butler, Pennsylvania on July 13th. And this is something that slipped through the cracks. Obviously, we've got a lot of wild stuff happening, a lot of scandal. The Epstein scandal has kind of taken over Washington, and I promise we'll get to the latest on that. I don't think it's working out the way Democrats had hoped, but here's why I'm not giving up on Tucker. Here's why I'm still going to listen to him. I'll disagree with him on Israel. He has become obsessed with Israel. He has become obsessed with the neocons and Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham, and he's trained his fire on people in his own party, on his own side of the aisle, but he doesn't care. I mean, he just doesn't have any more F's to give. He's made his money, he's done his thing, and he is gonna just stir it up. However it feels like, whatever he does what he wants to do, and he's doing an investigation into July 13th, Butler, Pennsylvania. Good. Isn't it amazing that we sit here not even a year and a half after a 20-year-old dishwasher shot Trump, came within millimeters of killing Trump, and we moved on. We know more about Jack Schlossberg than we do about Thomas Crooks. It's remarkable. We're at this point where they tried to kill Trump, almost killed him, and the head of the Secret Service, a good friend of the Bidens and the Cheneys, Kimberly Cheadle, said we didn't have an agent up on the roof because that would have been dangerous because the roof was sloped, when they had agents on another roof that was sloped, and it wasn't really that sloped. It wasn't really dangerous. She lied. She lied repeatedly. They gave Trump the short shrift on protection. They spent more resources protecting Jill Biden, who was making an appearance the same day, the same state. Jill Biden? Who the hell wants to take a shot at Jill Biden? Trump was in more danger than any political candidate ever. Everyone, millions of people want him dead. We saw that when they reacted to the shooting and him surviving. Hell, they're still disappointed that Trump is still breathing. They did everything they could to stop him, and they shot him, and he survived, and he won, and we moved on. Well, Tucker's not moving on. He says yesterday that the FBI lied when they said Crooks had no social media footprint. Immediately, Bongino and the FBI responds and says That's not true. They never said he didn't have a social media footprint. That is accurate. They said he had an old social media footprint. They didn't release any of his posts. Well, for whatever reason, I mean, there's all kinds of questions. They incinerated the body 10 days after the assassination. They cleaned the house out. They presented no evidence of any connection to anyone and want us to believe a 20-year-old kid who was a cook at a nursing home did this all on his own. Just took a rifle, got up on the roof, and almost killed the 45th president. Seems like something that would call for hearings, that would call for further investigation. It seems like we have a lot of questions that have yet to be answered. And Tucker's doing it, and the FBI is not comfortable with this. This is gonna get worse for the FBI, for the Secret Service before it gets better. Here's Tucker today explaining that Crooks had connections. Crooks had 5 cell phones. Again, 20-year-old loner with 5 cell phones. Could Bongino or Patel just answer that? Why did he have 5 cell phones? We don't know. Will we ever know? Not sure, but Tucker's trying to find out. Check this out.
Yet in early 2020, Crooks seemed to change radically. On January 23rd of that year, he referred to, quote, Trump's stupidity. He began to mock the concept of the deep state. He suggested it was a code word used by Trump supporters for, quote, anyone who disagrees with the right wing. Suddenly, he sounded like an MSNBC commentator. In February of 2020, he called out Trump supporters as, quote, too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are. I mean, literally, you guys sound like a cult at times. That same day, he called Trump and his supporters, quote, racist. It was an amazing transformation. That April, during the peak phase of the coronavirus lockdowns, Crooks wrote, quote, it seems that you people don't understand that sometimes public safety comes before your personal rights. Are you not willing to quarantine one member of your family to save the rest? If so, you are not a patriot and you aren't protecting anything. Around this time, the new left-wing version of Thomas Crooks became very critical of conservative media. He said at one point, quote, going to a Chinese New Year's party in America isn't putting you at risk for coronavirus because, believe it or not, viruses don't spread through race like Tucker Carlson probably told you. That May, as state officials across the country overhauled election systems to promote mail-in voting, Crooks attacked Republican concerns about voter fraud as, quote, ignorant. 4 months later, in August 2020, his tone had shifted even further to the left. He said, quote, I believe the outcome will be irrelevant. In response to the same video, Thomas Crooks issued what sounds a lot like a digital manifesto. Quote, in my opinion, the only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people or politicians, military leaders, etc., and try to assassinate them. Any sort of head-to-head fight is suicide, and even ambush or surprise attacks likely aren't going to end well. These remarks were especially notable because
that's incredible. A year and a half, we're finding out that he was a radical leftist. I mean, hell, he sounds like, as Tucker said, a commentator on MSNBC. So I understand why the Secret Service, the FBI under Joe Biden covered this up. I mean, they were lawless. They were engaged in lawfare. They were disappointed. Things didn't work out the way they wanted. But Trump's been in office for 10 months. Why have we not heard this? Why did we not know, as Tucker said, Trump's assassin had a manifesto explaining exactly where he was coming from? Why is it up to Tucker to tell us this? Why is it up to whoever leaked it to Tucker to reveal this? Why do we not know? Why is Trump's FBI, why Bongino and Patel, why didn't they tell us this? I mean, does that compromise the investigation? Of course not. He's dead. He's been incinerated. We don't have a body. We don't know anything. We don't know what was on the phones. We should. There should be an investigation, because it's not too far-fetched to say that they ignored the signs, that they didn't provide extra protection, that they weren't all that concerned with the life of the once and future president. When Tucker said there was no digital footprint, the FBI responded through its FBI rapid response account, saying the FBI never said Thomas Crooks had no footprint ever. And then Bongino retweeted. But they maybe they didn't say he had no digital footprint, but why didn't they give us this? Why didn't they release this? Why don't we know this? This is our country. This was our president. And we were hoping at the time he'd be president again. And they came an inch away from killing him. That is incredible. And it certainly feels like they have some explaining to do. Does anyone think Thomas Crooks acted alone? Tucker goes through some of the connections, some of the conversations he had online with other people. Have they been questions? Were they encouraging him to do this? Were they involved? Who was on the 5 cell phones? Why was his body destroyed, burned before the investigation was complete? And then Tucker shows a video of the FBI washing the roof, the sloped roof, where Crooks shot from, literally hosing it down. The FBI, not some local person, not some guy that owned the building or some janitor, an FBI agent washing the roof. Man, they've done this to us. They did it to us through COVID. They're doing it to us again. They're turning us all into Alex Jones. Like, I would never do this 10 years ago, but now I have questions. The Biden regime was so nefarious, just so sinister, that you have to ask these questions. Did they know? Did they cover it up? What are they hiding? We need to know, and it's up to Trump and the Trump team to let us know. Obviously, they weren't involved. They weren't in office, but we should know everything. I mean, this is a big, big, big story. They almost killed the man, and we don't know squat about it, and we should, and good for Tucker for bringing it up. So there you go. If he's not talking about Israel, I'm all in on Tucker, because he just goes places no one else will go. And I'm not sure about Megyn Kelly. I mean, again, I love Megyn. She does a great job. But man, on this Epstein story, she just goes off the rails. We're going to get to her defense, I guess, for what it's worth, of Epstein and more from Epstein. Here's the question, and maybe we'll get an answer next week when they release all the files. Was Donald Trump an informant? Did Donald Trump turn in Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to the feds? That's a question. And the man who makes the case that Trump may have been an informant hates Trump, was a friend of Epstein. Yes, that's where we're going. I'm not sure Democrats thought this through. When all these files are released, I'm just going to predict now, guess now, it's not going to hurt Trump. It's going to hurt Democrats. We'll see. But I'm going to guess there are more Democrats, powerful Democrats, including one former president, who's really uncomfortable, who's not going to have a good weekend, if indeed we're going to see all the files next week. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
if there's something all of us can believe in, it's hard work, self-reliance, and showing up for the people who count on us. You know, kind of like President Trump, just going hard 24/7. The difference is Donald Trump doesn't need sleep. You do. I do. It's the most important thing to good health. I was in a horrible cycle that had no end in sight. I knew I had to find something to break me free of that cycle. That's when I found Beam's Dream Powder. Beam is proudly founded in America and run by people who share our values: hard work, integrity, and delivering results. It's a healthy nighttime blend packed with science-based ingredients shown to improve sleep so you can wake up refreshed and ready to take on the day. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients: reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, and melatonin. Here's the deal. Beam is giving my listeners the ultimate Patriot discount of up to 40% off. Try their best-selling green powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time. So with my discount code Gerry, G-E-R-R-Y, you can get the best-selling dream powder for just $39. Go to shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Gerry. Use code word Gerry for up to 40% off. So here's where we are at the Epstein scandal, on which Democrats are placing all their hopes and dreams. They're hoping, they're still talking about Epstein all day, all night, hoping it sticks, hoping it brings down the evil orange man. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work out the way they had hoped. As we explained yesterday, they released 3 emails out of 20,000, hoping it would hurt Trump. They all played along with the hoax. It was a hoax. It lasted a couple of hours before it was exposed, but that didn't stop them from screaming, calling Trump a pedophile and a predator. We all know that they redacted the name of the alleged victim, and then we learned the name was Virginia Giuffre, who in her book and in her sworn testimony said Trump did nothing wrong, that he was a perfect gentleman. So that blew up on them. And they also posted a couple other things. They posted like it was a bad thing that Epstein hated Trump. Epstein wrote, "I have met some very bad people, none as bad as Trump, not one decent cell in his body." And you're supposed to think that's a bad thing, that you got criticized by the worst pedophile and maybe perhaps in American history. Also, they posted that Trump spent Thanksgiving with Jeffrey Epstein in 2017. The official account from the Democrat Party posted this, that he spent Thanksgiving. Honest to God, thank God we have other sources, because you know that if this didn't get debunked within minutes, it would have led Joe Scarborough this morning and Rachel Maddow and Jake Tapper. They would have eaten this up. There it is. They tweet, Democrats showed Donald Trump spent Thanksgiving with Epstein in 2017. At the time, Trump was already president and Epstein was already a convicted sex offender. And they post the receipts. I think this lasted, minutes. Trump was president. He was president. You know what that means? That we follow his every move on Thanksgiving. And there's video of him with the troops giving out food. It wasn't true. It was just made up. And they took it down, deleted it in a matter of minutes. So they're trying. They're throwing everything they can against the wall. You know what else we learned? That Epstein visited the White House when Bill Clinton was president 17 times. That Epstein had a close relationship with Larry Summer and Reid Hoffman, prominent Democrats. They're not going to like this when they drop everything next week. But here was Trump. I'm not sure his motivation. I think he knows he didn't go to the island. He didn't get a massage. Hell, it's in the files. He didn't get a massage. Unlike many Democrats. Trump writes, post this morning, Democrats are doing everything they can, everything in their withering power to push the Epstein hoax, despite the DOJ releasing 50,000 pages of documents in order to deflect from all their bad policies and losses, especially the shutdown embarrassment, where the party is in total disarray and has no idea what to do. Some weak Republicans have fallen into their clutches because they are soft and foolish. Epstein was a Democrat, and he is the Democrats' problem, not the Republicans. Ask Bill Clinton, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summers about Epstein. They know all about him. Don't waste your time with Trump. I have a country to run. You know what? I think this is going to work out okay for Trump. We're going to learn about those guys, Reid Hoffman, Larry Summer, Clinton, and many others who are going to look really bad. And you know what else? Trump might look really good. We told you about Michael Wolff yesterday. He's in these files. He's this dirtbag author, journalist. who was working with Epstein to help Epstein with PR, kind of like the New York Times guy. The New York Times guy was working closely with Epstein to help him in his defense and with public relations. But check this out. Michael Wolff explains that Trump may have been the guy who turned Epstein in. Is it possible? I mean, I'm just spitballing that Trump could be the hero in this next week. You think things have backfired on Democrats to shut down the various investigations, the hoaxes have backfired to this date? What have we learned that the reason that Epstein was investigated, was arrested, was stopped, was Trump? Listen to Michael Wolff.
At that point, Epstein's legal problems began. The police began to investigate him over allegations that he was, that there were underage women coming to his house. Epstein believed that it was Trump who first informed the police about what was going on at Epstein's house. And from that point on, they were nothing but bitter enemies.
And this is what he's telling you. This is one of the instances of what he's telling you.
Yes,
that the following
that is the version of this related by
the hoax yesterday.
What Trump is referring to is the hoax that the Democrats are using to try to attack him. He has never said or suggested or implied. I've talked to him about this many times.
It comes across as calling the whole thing a hoax.
It's been misrepresented. He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago. What he's talking about is the Democrats who are doing this with impure motives. If they cared so much about this, why didn't they do something during the 4 years of the Biden administration when the Biden DOJ had all the records?
It's a good question, and we've been asked it over and over. They did nothing for 4 years. All these people who cared so much about children, Chris Murphy and Seth Moulton and Eric Swalwell and everyone else screaming about Epstein's crimes, did nothing for 4 years. Mike Johnson just said Trump was an FBI informant. Michael Wolff said Jeffrey Epstein believed Trump ratted him out. Wow. If that's true, if we get proof of that, maybe Trump's just playing a game here. Maybe he's setting them all up. And we're going to find out Trump is the one who brought Epstein down. That's what Michael Wolff just said. That will be wild. Not quite as wild as Megyn Kelly's defense. This was so bizarre. Megyn Kelly yesterday had a rather unusual defense. I don't want to say defense. It's not really exonerating Jeffrey Epstein, but somehow making it a little less egregious what this man did, grooming young girls, taking them to the island, using them for sex. We know he and Maxwell did that. It's pretty well established, and it's evil. But Megyn, in a weird moment here on her show, explains that at least he wasn't going after 8-year-olds. Yes, she says that. Check it out.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believed. And that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah. So I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his.
What the hell? Oh, what are you saying there, Megan? I mean, we all take say strange things at times. That is bizarre. I got a question. Is it better that they were 15 and not 8? I guess. But here's the flaw in that defense is he couldn't do what he did with 8-year-olds. It wouldn't work. I mean, he was getting teens from the local high school to come to the mansion in Palm Beach and give them massages, and he would give them money, and he would take them on trips, lost young girls with problems at home and problems at school. He'd prey on them. What if he were in the 8-year-olds? He couldn't do that. You can't take an 8-year-old to some island in the Caribbean. You can't even take an 8-year-old into your home in Palm Beach and get a massage. And what if he's not into 8-year-olds, just 14-year-olds? Does that make his crimes somehow less horrific?
I wish I knew this before. I would have looked at it through a different lens.
He's a pederast. He's not a pedophile. I mean, I don't even know what the definition is. I don't care. What he did was pure evil. I mean, what if he was a murderer? And you said, well, he didn't murder 8-year-olds. He just murdered 15-year-olds. He destroyed young girls, pushed them to suicide in some cases, including the case of his most prominent victim, Virginia Giuffre. So she was 15 or 16 and not 8. How does that make it better? What's the difference? I mean, really, it's evil. Either way, it's evil. But again, if he were into 8-year-olds, he couldn't have done what he did for years to these teenage girls, to these, these confused and lost and runaways in some cases. I mean, he couldn't have done it. The second he kept an 8-year-old at his house for an hour, the cops would be looking, and it'd be a big deal. That was just weird. That is just bizarre. I'm sure Megan today is going to get some backlash and explain it, and she'll probably do a good job because she's smart and articulate. But my God, when those words are coming out of your mouth, aren't you going, wait, this is just not working? He wasn't into 8-year-olds. So that was not the most uncomfortable moment yesterday. Give me Jen Psaki, because I love this. This is my favorite clip of the day. Here is obviously MSNBC, CNN, ABC, and NBC. They're all hoping, praying this Epstein stuff hurts Trump. Maybe doesn't bring him down, but certainly hurts him. That's what they do every day. They wake up and say, how can we hurt Trump, stop Trump? And they thought they had him yet again. Of course, the hoax fell apart in a matter of minutes when we found out who the victim's name. We found out the name of the victim that they redacted, Democrats redacted. So the whole thing fell apart. But they're walking on eggshells now. We know Trump sued ABC and CBS, 60 Minutes, Stephanopoulos. We know he's going to sue the BBC, and he's going to win again because they deceptively edited his words on January 6th. But I'm going to guess there's a lawyer at NBC and MSNBC and CNN lurking, probably on set, probably, if they got a wide angle right, I would see a lawyer, arms crossed, looking at Jen Psaki. But watch this, listen to this as she catches herself mid-sentence and starts thinking about the inevitable Trump lawsuit if she doesn't pull back. Watch.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that Alex Acosta, when he
That's great. Predators like Trump. I mean, not Trump. No. They're all nervous. They want to go all in on this so badly. They want to do what their followers do on social media, just say, Trump's a pedophile. Trump rapes kids. They want that to be true so badly they can taste it, and it's not, and they just can't handle it, and they're not going to be able to handle it. Next week, if this whole thing drops and we find out Trump was the good guy and a bunch of Democrats were really bad, this could blow up like nothing we've ever seen before. Speaking of blowing up, Eric Swalwell is in trouble. Eric Swalwell has been referred to the DOJ for what else? Mortgage fraud. And his defense is the same as James Comey's defense, same as Letitia James. Yeah, I criticized Trump. Okay, follow up for you, Eric. You did. Trump hates you. Did you lie on your mortgage application? I love when they cover this stuff and never quite get to the accusation. I mean, we saw it with Letitia James. She is guilty as hell. She is going down. Eric Swalwell claimed his primary residence is in D.C. That's against the rules. He doesn't have a primary residence in California. If that's true, that's the accusation, and it's all documented, he's in trouble. And his defense, like everyone else, is Trump hates me, Trump's coming after me. And here he is saying, the answer to this is we retake the House and we go after them. So they're using lawfare against me, and just wait till we're back in power. We're going to use lawfare against them. He is this not the sleaziest guy in D.C.? And that's saying a lot. I mean, obviously, he's a scumbag, slept with a Chinese spy. He couldn't get elected, well, maybe in Massachusetts or New York, but in most of the country, this clown would be laughed out of the room. But he's a representative, he's a congressman from California, and he's in trouble. Listen to him.
This is really about Donald Trump going after his political enemies, and no one has been a more vocal critic than me. But this is why being in the majority also matters, because these guys think that they can do this because they're invincible and there are no consequences. And a year from now, we are going to win the majority. And that's what we learned last Tuesday when California voters stood up against Donald Trump. And when we're in the majority, we will have subpoena power and accountability will happen. So Bill Pulte and any other lawless official who is carrying out these political prosecutions on behalf of Donald Trump, they should familiarize themselves with the Judiciary Committee room, because they're going to be spending a lot of time there answering questions. And I sure hope everything they did was above board.
Wow, he's made it through that whole segment without blasting gas on air. I give him credit. But he just said, we're going to get him. Put us back in power. Give us subpoena power. We'll get him. Okay, Eric, did you lie on a mortgage application? Did that bald-headed woman at MSNBC ask the question? They don't. You see, same with Letitia James. Did you lie on your mortgage application? Oh, this is revenge, retribution. Trump's coming after me. Okay, yeah, he is. Did you do it? We never get to that part, do we? Did you do it? This is good, because to me, this is not like nebulous. It's pretty clear. He did it or he didn't do it. It's documented. It's on the application. Did you lie in the application? Okay. And would other people be prosecuted for that? That's the difference between the charges against James and Swalwell. We understand them. When Trump was prosecuted, no one even understood it. No one, to this day, no one knows what Letitia James prosecuted him for in New York. Oh yeah, it was a hush money thing 20 years ago. Oh, but he lied on this. I thought it was a misdemeanor. Oh, now it's felony. Why? Even the jury didn't know what the hell they were voting on. But these cases, we know. All right, before we go, I want to get to this, because this drives me nuts. John Fetterman, who's an American hero right now, a guy, an independent thinker, a guy with some courage in the Democrat Party, a guy willing to stand up and say he speaks, he votes He represents the people of Pennsylvania, not the Democrat Party. He's gone to war with his party on many issues, on Israel, on the border, and on the shutdown. Man, did we underestimate this big lug. And he is, they're going to primary him. They're going to try and stop him because he thinks for himself. He's not a sheep. He's not a lemming. He's not like most of the Democrats, just waiting for their orders and following orders. He's refreshing. And by the way, he fell down yesterday, hurt himself. He's in the hospital. He's going to be okay. He joked that he said, if he thought my face was ugly before, wait till you see it now. I guess he's okay. He had a problem with his AFib, and he collapsed and banged his head. So hopefully he's okay, because we need this guy. He goes on with Katie Couric. She has a podcast, I guess, and she's just like all the rest of them, like Jim Acosta and Chuck Todd and Joy Reid. She posed, she pretended she was a newswoman for decades. She pretended like she was a journalist for decades. She's just another bitter Trump hater. And when she has guests on her podcast, it comes through. You get to see what a vile person she is. She starts this interview asking if J.D. Vance should have used Air Force Two to transport Charlie Kirk's body. Really? That's what you're upset about? They were friends. We know that. Good friends. Still is. Good friend of Erica. And he was going out there to comfort the family and see his friend after he was assassinated, and he took him home to Arizona. Hell, Barack Obama used Air Force One to go on date night with Michelle, go to dinner in New York one. I mean, it's their prerogative. But that upset her. It didn't bother Fetterman, of course. But this is insane. She, again, thinks she's this level-headed newswoman, and she wants to talk about Charlie Kirk's rhetoric. I hate this so much. Like Charlie Kirk's rhetoric, that's somehow supposed to justify the assassination. Just come out and say it. I'll give credit to the lunatics on social media who say he deserved to die for what he said. At least they're being honest. That's what Katie Couric believes. Two problems with this. One, it doesn't matter what he said. They killed him, as Fetterman points out. Do you listen to yourself, Katie? Do you know how crazy that is? To say he was against abortion. You know, he was a devout Christian. Of course he deserved to get shot. Secondly, they lie. Again, this is not some crazy bomb tosser. This is not, some lunatic. This is Charlie Kirk, who had civilized, respectful debate. He didn't even swear. I've talked about this over and over again, but I'm so sick of people misrepresenting him. He was the best of us. I've watched many of his debates on college campuses, many of his shows and speeches. He was not using incendiary rhetoric. It's just the opposite. But they don't care. In fact, they don't listen. They don't care. He was the enemy. He was a conservative. He was a Christian. And she hates him for it. And she just kind of, calmly explains that, don't you think his rhetoric was a problem? Well, why are you talking about it? Because he's dead. So you're connecting the fact that he spoke words that you don't like with a guy shooting him in the throat and killing him. A 31-year-old father of two little kids is dead. And this vile creep, Katie Couric, wants to talk about, consequences, cause and effect. Yeah, he talked. He said words. So he's dead. Don't you think there's a connection? And to his credit, once again, Fetterman wants no part of it. Listen to this.
Did you have any issues now in hindsight over some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and some of the rhetoric he used during his life?
I didn't agree with much of it. I didn't closely follow his specific kinds of views, but I did.
I'm sure you learned about them after his death, though.
No, I haven't done a deep dive on it. I described, we've all seen that terrible video. Perhaps if you've seen the actual video, I have. And it's like appalling. And that's part of the political violence. And from what I'm saying, it's like, that's unacceptable. And engaging in a debate and views I strongly disagree on. That's part of the American democracy. And for me, it's that would never justify what's happened. And I just chose not to take the opportunity to argue his views after children lost his father in the most violent public way. I mean, so that's, I would say the equivalent on the left might be, say, Mr. Piker. I strongly disagree with his views, but I'm appalled if something like that happened to him. Oh my God. I mean, that's, like we have to disagree in better ways where, you're going to solve it by shooting people. And that's why the kinds of rhetoric, we have to turn the temperature down. Extreme rhetoric makes it easier for extreme reactions or to justify them.
I think some people might say Charlie Kirk's rhetoric was extreme. I think the conversation that happened, people condemned political violence, but they also felt a great deal of discomfort with his language, suggesting that these kinds of words lead to violence.
Oh God. What a vile human being. What a piece of shit. What an absolute piece of shit. His rhetoric was extreme. Did she ever say that when he was alive? Did she ever play his videos and say, that's vile, that's extreme? Of course not. She is just casually, conversationally condoning his assassination. That's what she's doing right there. God, we knew she was a lefty. Did you know she was such a scumbag? God, what a piece of shit. And Fetterman, the guy had a stroke. The guy struggles to, articulate his thoughts, but he just says, we can't justify this. He's a father. He's a man. Even if he used extreme rhetoric, which, by the way, Mr. Piker, Hassan Piker, that he's referring to, does. That's the guy who said America deserved 9/11. That's the guy who just went to China to dump on America while in Tiananmen Square. He's truly an extremist who uses vile rhetoric, and no one's going to shoot him. They shot Charlie Kirk for saying, men shouldn't play in women's sports, for saying, abortion is murder. It wasn't extreme. It was conservative. And she says, well, yeah, she won't even accept his explanation. Just pushes back. Well, he was extreme. Yeah, he had extreme views. Why don't you play one, lady? There's plenty of videos out there. Play one. Tell me what's so extreme. Tell me why he deserved to die, you scumbag. God, I hate that woman. You just don't hate these people enough. You really don't. She's not even worked up. She's just casually, yeah, he was extreme. People, there's a connection there. Extreme rhetoric and violence. What? What are you saying? Just come out and say it. You're glad he's dead. You absolute vulture. You vile, sick scum. She is just the worst. All right, I had more to get to, but I think I got to wrap it up there before I lose my mind. I hate this woman. Honest to God, all of them. Anyone who even talks, even says, well, his rhetoric. What about his rhetoric? He was shot in the throat and killed for his rhetoric. And somehow you want to connect it. Say, yeah, maybe he shouldn't have gone there and said, abortion is bad. Maybe he shouldn't have gone there and said, men shouldn't go into women's locker rooms. He was talking about that when he was killed. And you're somehow justifying it. It's exactly what you're doing. You are justifying it. That is sick. All right, I got to wrap it up there. We're not going to get to the NFL Ironhead. I know you're happy because you won your bet. Oh, did you?
Katie Couric ruins another show.
Katie Couric, yeah, I got to stay away from her. She is just. We'll just say it. The Patriots are the best team in the NFL. Patriots are going to win the #1 seed, the bye, going to the Super Bowl. They are unstoppable. They have a great quarterback and a great coach. How's that? Took care of it. And the Jets are a joke. And you need a great young quarterback. They have Justin Fields, who has all the tools, but he stinks. Patriots have Drake May.
I don't know. How many passes last night did the Jets drop that were right in their hands?
Yeah, there were a few of those too. They suck. He sucks. They suck. That's an easy W. The Patriots are going to be favored every week for the rest of the year. They're going to go 15-2. and win the #1 seed and go to the Super Bowl. But hey, we'll do it again next week when they play. They'll win again, and May will put on another clinic. He is just spectacular. But that will do it for today and for this week. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is the Callahan Show, and we will do it again next week.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others,